think half face? Is that what you're thinking?
Not for this one.
No, I meant.
Oh, you meant the third one.
All right, let's do it. Sound is rolling, Mike.
When I was in undergrad, I was a part of a 2% Black population. That is right, 2%. So I decided I would take an African American history class, be around my people. That was incorrect. That was not what it was. There were 3 Black women in a sea of whiteness. And of course, no offense to any white people, but full offense to these white people because the people in this class equated slave rebellion with the act of slavery itself. The culture of buying and selling a person was equal to the fight of someone trying to free themselves from that. And the professor was on his Michelle Obama. He was like, when they go low, we go high. But us, the 3 Black girls in the class, we were left threading an interesting line. See, because we wanted to correct the ignorance, but at the same time, we knew that if we were to respond too harshly, then we'd be aggressive. And so we held in much of our emotion, and after the class, we went to our safe space. And that's where we could unload any anger that we had. But I thought to myself, the fact that we needed to go somewhere else to have a safe space meant that we were paying something that our classmates did not. Our discomfort paid for their comfort. And that is a tax. And that's what we're going to talk about today on Before We Wrap.
It's gorgeous.
Listen, just get real comfortable. 'Cause I feel like my comfort will help your comfort. You guys, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate it. We have these conversations amongst ourselves often, and I think it's great if we can just get another pair of eyes in there. So I'm actually going to start with you. So I'm going to ask you a question that has to do more with your background in finance. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. How would you define a tax?
Ideally, a tax should be a contribution you make to the government or some overarching powers for them to provide common goods for everyone. The interesting thing about taxes is they're designed to incentivize behavior, right? In a certain way. There's a tax on cigarettes so you don't smoke, and there's a tax on alcohol so you don't drink. That doesn't stop me.
I mean, clearly.
But if you think who's imposing the tax and it's the status quo, they're kind of picturing this as a contribution. You want to play in our game, you need to follow these rules. And the question is that the game you want to play, or do you want to make up your own game?
But what are the results if we don't engage in the game?
I'm kind of in the middle of figuring that out at the moment. The tax part of it, it's burdensome in the sense that it's like, even in trying to figure, like the fact that I have to have that internal dialogue. It's like, okay, am I going to walk into this direction where I know, like for instance, the word collaboration, right? This is a word that gets tossed around a lot in the independent film world.
It gets tossed around in the corporate world.
I was going to say, we can jump to corporate real quick. Real quick.
And you realize there's this invisible group of white men who, even though I'm in the network, right? I brought a show to the network, right? These white men do not have to see me. And there's a whole system set up to keep them from ever really seeing me and hearing what I have to say about what I make with their money. So now here's a line in the sand, right? Do you buck up against this wall of silence that is the status quo, that operates the way, like if I'm there or not there, whoever's there after me in my spot will have to contend with the same cogs and the same system in the same way? Do you buck that, throw a wrench in that and say, actually this time, no?
But both of those are payments, right? Yeah. Because it's a payment to repress it, like that in and of itself is something that takes energy.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's also a payment if you decide to go against it, right? Because that is also physical work that you have to do that...
Start from scratch.
That isn't easy.
It's wild.
So any way you put it, catch-22, you're still paying.
Yes.
And the beneficiaries of that payment, like essentially if you repress it, you're subsidizing someone else's comfort, right?
Right.
Because they're going to get to remain in the status quo.
Right.
If you go against it,
Yeah.
Ro, do you think you pay more of a tax as a woman or as a person of color?
I don't know the answer because I feel like I'm Black, I'm a woman, and I'm queer. So it's like people almost don't know what to do with that combination, and so they're attacking like whichever side is, sticking out to them. So I don't know if I can say it's one more than the other, or if I can separate them out. I just know that when I am interacting with people, we have a disagreement, I feel like I'm not being seen in the way that is true to who I am, but like everything is sort of amplified through that angry Black woman lens or like woman daring to speak and have a voice lens. I just feel that. I feel a reaction and I can't tell from, or I don't know. I don't know.
You're paying the tax, but you can't find the deductions.
Yes. Which item is this? It's not itemized.
Makes sense.
Yeah. What about you?
A lot of times I feel like, especially what you're saying, like as a Black woman, sometimes if your tone is too one way, all of a sudden you're angry, and it's like I'm literally saying the same thing you in the same tone, but you're perceiving it totally different. Especially in the workplace, I just feel like there's so many times where you have so many cards stacked against you already. And so if you're not apologizing every 5 seconds before you ask for a request, then like, it's, you're then perceived, oh my gosh, you're direct. Maria's a really direct person. And so I don't know, I've gone back and forth. Do I apologize too much? Should I apologize less? And my approach has really been apologize less, just because I've always been outspoken. I'm very direct, and like I'm just kind of at the point in my career where you're just gonna have to accept me for who I am, and if that's not okay, then bye. That's one of the reasons why I did leave a job in finance, because I felt like a lot of times I had to fit this very cookie cutter mold, and it's not me.
I think you decided to say that you weren't going to pay that tax anymore.
I'm paying the tax, but in different ways.
Different context.
Because my actual bills reflected the difference of the tax.
That's
the
really
finance
real,
pay and the media pay are not the same.
Real. That's real. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much.
I'm into grandma's. Butter, cheddar cheese. Spicy.
Right. White with some seasoning.
I went to business.
Look.
Right?
Right.
All right, we ready for this? All right, let's do this.
Mama said, never settle. Shield your heart with the toughest metal. Don't let a fool pluck out all your petals. Daddy said, be resilient. Hold your crown up, don't catch it slipping. You are a queen by the definition. Brother said, keep your mouth shut. Move quiet and make your own luck. Don't let a man ever get you stuck. Brother said, you're the dopest. I'm so proud of you every moment. Found you a king once you're good and focused. You're so incredible. You deserve someone as special as you. Oh, this is for all my lovely ladies, defeating the odds that rose from concrete. You're so much more than hips and smiling. I hope you know all your worth, ladies. This is for all my Wonder Women who do it for themselves, don't need attention. And nothing in this world can stop your vision. I hope you know all your worth, lady. You're so elevated, captivated, motivated, stimulated, fascinating. I hope you know all your worth, ladies. You're so elevating, captivating, motivating, educated, stimulating. I hope you know all your worth, ladies. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shout out to a friend of mine. You know who you are. I think we've all been through this before, where you just kind of feel alone and isolated. Big Little Lies, Jessica Jones, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. He expressed that he just couldn't identify with any of these characters, and there was nothing left to watch. Even though only 24% of films are led by females, I mean, I still feel it for him, but I believe in you. If you look hard enough, there will be a central storyline for you to feel. Shout out to you.